My name is Claire. I'm 34 years old, and I think I stopped recognizing myself somewhere around 31. There's no clean moment I can point to, no dramatic fight, no betrayal, no thunderclap epiphany. It was quieter than that. Slower. Like rust crawling across metal, barely visible until one day it eats straight through. I've been with Zane for 8 years. We live in a small apartment above a bakery, the kind with creaky wooden floors and windows that sweat in the winter. He's a graphic designer who works from home. I teach literature at the community college across town. From the outside, we're the kind of couple people assume are steady. We split groceries without resentment. We know each other's coffee orders. He still brings me my favorite lemon tea when I'm grading papers too late. But that's the thing, routine can feel like love until it doesn't. I used to feel lucky with Zane. When we first met, he made everything feel electric. I remember the way he'd put his hand on the small of my back when we were in public, how his eyes would drift to my mouth mid-sentence like he couldn't wait to kiss me again. There was something hungry in the way he touched me back then, not just sexually, but emotionally. Like he wanted to understand all the secret pieces of me. Now, it's like he only touches me to check a box. Last night, he kissed me while I was rinsing wine glasses. I felt the heat of his palm on my hip and the slow press of his lips on my neck, but instead of desire, I just felt a hollowness. A pause in motion, like I was waiting for something to actually reach me. I turned around and kissed him back, mechanically. I smiled like I meant it. But when I pulled away, he lingered, holding me by the arms like he was searching for something. I could feel his frustration in the way his thumbs flexed over my skin, like he was trying to convince himself that this, whatever it's become, was still working. And I guess that's what scares me. We're both still trying. But not in the same direction. Sometimes he'll rest his head in my lap when we watch movies, like he used to. But now, his body feels heavier, not just physically, but emotionally. Like he's resting on me instead of with me. Like I'm the ground and he's forgotten I have limits, too. The intimacy's become so scripted it almost feels like an obligation. We'll cuddle in bed and his hand will drift down under the covers, and I'll tense, not because I don't want him, but because I don't want that. Not the automatic choreography we've fallen into, the same 5 steps and no music. I want something else. I don't even know what, exactly. I just know it's missing. I started getting curious. Not about other men, not in the way people assume. I started wondering what it would feel like to be wanted in a way that wasn't familiar. To be seen without the lens of years and patterns and expectations. To be surprised by touch, instead of anticipating every move. It wasn't cheating, I've never strayed. But the thought itself made me feel disloyal, like I'd already opened some door inside me that I wasn't supposed to even look at. And yet, I kept opening it. Just a crack. I think the moment I realized something had truly shifted was 3 weeks ago. We were lying in bed. I had just read him a passage from a book I loved, one of those quiet, aching paragraphs that feels like it was written with your ribcage as a pen. I looked at him, heart open, waiting for him to say something, anything. He just blinked, nodded, and said, "Nice." That was it. I rolled over and faced the wall. And I swear, the space between our bodies felt like miles. That's when I knew. Something had changed. Not in a loud, destructive way, but in the quiet surrender of moments like that. And I don't know if we're brave enough to name it. Zane thinks the problem is sex. I can feel it in the way he kisses me now, harder, longer, as if intensity will fix what gentleness used to hold together. His hands search my body more often, but it's not curiosity anymore. It's desperation. A silent question he keeps asking with touch because words feel too dangerous. He doesn't understand that I don't need him to touch me more. I need him to see me first. The misunderstanding isn't new. It's just gotten sharper lately. He's always been the physical one. Acts of service, quality time, touch, those are his languages. And I used to love that about him. I used to feel like I was being gathered when he pulled me in close, like he was claiming me in the safest way. But now? Now his hands feel like noise. Loud and insistent when I'm still sorting through the quiet inside me. Zane's job doesn't help. He's a paramedic, the kind who forgets to eat but never forgets to pack a trauma kit in the trunk. He works insane shifts and comes home smelling like antiseptic and exhaustion. And I get it, I really do. His world is chaos, so he needs home to feel solid. Predictable. But I'm not a couch or a routine or a bedtime checklist. I'm a person. One who's unraveling a little more every day. Last week, I tried to talk to him. Not the whole truth, I'm not even sure I can name it all yet, but a little. Just enough to say, hey, something feels off and I need more from you than this autopilot affection. It was a Thursday. He'd just come off a 14-hour shift and collapsed on the couch, shoes still on, scrolling through his phone. I sat beside him, waited for a pause, and said softly, Zane, do you ever feel like we're not really talking anymore? He looked up, tired eyes blinking. What do you mean? We're talking right now. I swallowed. Not like this. I mean, about us. How we're doing. How we're really doing. He exhaled through his nose. Claire, I'm exhausted. Can this wait? It had waited. 4 months. So I nodded. I always nod. That night, he reached for me in bed. Kissed my shoulder. Let his hand drift down the curve of my waist. And I froze, because all I could think was, he still hasn't asked me how I'm doing. Not really. Not once. I turned onto my side, pretending to be asleep. I felt his hand hover for a moment, then fall away. He didn't try again. The next morning, he made eggs. Scrambled, the way I like. Left a note by the coffee pot that said sorry I was cranky. Love you always. And God, I know he means it. I know he thinks that is love. A full breakfast and a posted heart. But I don't want breakfast. I want him to sit across from me and ask. I want him to remember what lights me up, to notice that I haven't been reading in bed lately, or that I've started sleeping with my back to him more often than not. I want him to see that I'm drifting. But he doesn't. Instead, he doubles down. More kisses. More groping in the kitchen. More "you're so beautiful" whispered into my neck after a long silence, like saying the right words will keep the wrongness from showing. I try not to resent it. I try to tell myself he's doing what he knows. That this is the only way he knows how to fix what's broken. But every time he grabs my hips from behind or kisses me with that edge of urgency, I flinch a little more. He thinks I'm withholding. I can see it in his eyes. He thinks I'm punishing him for something he doesn't understand. But I'm not trying to punish him. I'm just trying to be heard before I'm touched. And right now, I feel like a body he's trying to get back, not a person he's trying to reach. Zane came up behind me in the kitchen again. I was chopping onions, barely awake, still in a worn college sweatshirt and socks with a hole in the heel. His hands slid around my waist like they used to, fingers linking low, breath warm against my neck. Morning, beautiful, he murmured, pressing a kiss to the curve where my shoulder met my neck. It should have felt tender. Instead, my body tensed, not from fear, but from fatigue. From the weight of having to respond. I forced a smile, eyes still on the cutting board. Morning. He gave my hip a playful squeeze, then smacked my butt lightly, something that used to make me laugh. Now, I flinched. It was slight. Probably imperceptible. But I felt it. The wince in my chest. The way my muscles instinctively pulled away instead of leaning in. He didn't comment. Just pulled away and opened the fridge like nothing happened. But I knew he noticed. We were quiet the rest of the morning. Later that day, he tried again. I was curled up on the couch, grading papers, hair scraped into a messy bun, wearing glasses I never used to wear around him, a small, stupid act of distance. He came in, smelling like soap and fresh laundry, and sat beside me. Close. Too close. I was thinking maybe we could go out tomorrow night, he said. That new Korean place opened up down on Ash. I didn't look up from my laptop. Maybe. I've got a lot of student essays to get through. He paused. You've always got essays. There it was. The edge. The accusation beneath the invitation. I sighed and closed the laptop. I'm just tired, Zane. He shifted toward me. We don't even kiss anymore. I mean, really kiss. I kiss you. Not like before. I didn't know what to say to that. Because he was right. And also, he wasn't. He reached out, gently cupping my face. His thumb brushed my cheek. I saw him swallow, eyes scanning mine like he was trying to find a door back in. He kissed me. It wasn't forceful. It was soft. Sweet. The kind of kiss that would have made me melt once. But now? I felt nothing. Just pressure. Warmth. The obligation to respond. And behind it all, this dull ache of resentment that I didn't want to feel, but couldn't seem to shake. I kissed him back. Briefly. Then pulled away. I have to get back to work, I muttered, grabbing my laptop and pretending to scroll. Claire, he said quietly. I'm trying. I know. Then why does it feel like I'm chasing you around our own home? His voice cracked a little. That made it worse. Because it meant he was hurting. And I didn't want to be the one who hurt him. I just wanted to breathe without feeling cornered. I'm not trying to push you away, I said. I don't know what's wrong with me lately. He looked at me like I was breaking his heart in real time. You used to love when I touched you. And I had. God, I had. But now, every kiss felt like a test. Every touch felt like pressure. And underneath it all, a voice inside me kept whispering, louder each time, why does everything have to turn into sex? We hadn't been out together in weeks. So when Zane made reservations at that new Korean place, the one with the soft lighting and minimalist wood decor, I agreed. I even tried. Wore lipstick for the first time in months. Picked out a navy dress he once said made my eyes look stormy. I thought maybe if I looked the part of us again, I'd feel it too. He smiled when he saw me, like he wanted to believe the same thing. God, Claire. You look amazing. I smiled back. Tried to mean it. Thanks. We made it through appetizers, just surface talk. His latest shift. A weird call about a guy who dislocated his shoulder while lifting his dog. I nodded, laughed where appropriate. Sipped my wine carefully. But by the time the entree arrived, he turned the conversation, almost gently. I've been thinking, he said. Maybe we need a getaway. Just the two of us. That cabin we went to in Michigan. Remember? I said, swirling my chopsticks through rice. He leaned in. We had sex on the kitchen counter there. Twice. I blinked. That old ache tightened in my chest. Zane, I started, unsure of where I was even going with it. You said that was one of your favorite weekends, he added, his voice low, like he was inviting me into the memory. And maybe it had been. But something about the way he said it, like a lure, like sex was the centerpiece, made something sharp snap loose inside me. I said it was my favorite weekend because we talked until 2 in the morning about stupid childhood memories, I said, voice too tight. Because we made pancakes and you dropped the spatula in the batter and I laughed so hard I cried. Not because we had sex on the goddamn counter. His face froze. Fork midair. His smile faltered, then disappeared altogether. Jesus, Claire, he said, putting the fork down slowly. I was trying to, what, share a memory? Flirt with you? Isn't that what you want? No, I snapped, louder than I meant to. A couple turned to look. I could feel the air tighten around our table. What I want is for you to stop equating intimacy with sex. I want you to stop touching me like it's the only way you know I'm still here. His eyes darkened. So what, I'm not allowed to want you now? That's not what I said. It's exactly what you said, he hissed, leaning in. Every time I try, you pull away. You flinch like I'm the enemy. You act like I'm doing something wrong for still being attracted to my own wife. I opened my mouth to respond, but nothing came out. Because part of me knew he wasn't entirely wrong. But the bigger part of me was just so tired. And then, I felt it, the heat behind my eyes, the sting in my throat. I tried to hold it in. Tried to chew and swallow my emotions like rice and broth. But the tears came anyway. Right there, at the stupid little table with soy candles and ceramic dishes. Zane looked horrified. Not cruel, just stunned. Like he truly hadn't seen it coming. I shook my head, eyes down. I didn't come here to fight, I whispered. I didn't either, he said softly. We were silent the rest of the meal. He paid. I offered nothing. We walked to the car without touching, both of us vibrating with the weight of everything unsaid. That night, I lay in bed with my back to him again. Listening to the sounds of him brushing his teeth, zipping his hoodie, plugging in his phone. And all I could think was, how did we get here? I had been just curious, at first. Curious about why things felt off. Why I didn't crave his touch anymore. Why I felt so hollow after kisses that used to leave me breathless. But Zane took control of that moment in a way I couldn't stop, by pressing in harder, touching more, trying to fix me with closeness when what I really needed was space to unravel. And now, I just felt broken. Guilt tangled in my throat. Shame that I'd ruined what was supposed to be a loving night. Confusion over whether I was the problem, or if maybe, we both were. And the worst part? I still didn't know how to say any of that out loud. It's been 12 days since the dinner. 12 days of muted mornings and empty goodnights. We still move around each other, pass plates, share the couch, fold laundry, but it's like we've both turned translucent. I can see him. He can see me. But we pass through each other like we're made of steam. The silence is the loudest it's ever been. Zane doesn't push anymore. He doesn't touch my hip in the kitchen or brush my hair behind my ear when I'm reading. He barely looks at me unless I speak first. And even then, the light in his eyes doesn't reach me. It just hovers, uncertain, guarded. I think I broke something in him that night. And I hate that. I hate that he's walking around with that slumped posture, the one he gets when he's carrying something too heavy to talk about. That he stopped bringing me lemon tea without saying a word. That he started going on longer runs in the evenings, coming back sweat-soaked and silent, not even asking if I want to join. He used to ask, even when he knew I'd say no. Now he doesn't bother. And the truth is, I miss him. I miss the way he'd wink at me over the top of a book when we were reading on opposite sides of the couch. I miss the smell of his shampoo on my pillow when he left early for work. I miss the way he'd pull me in, full body, no hesitation, when he felt me drifting. As if he could anchor me with nothing but warmth and will. But somewhere along the way, I made it clear I didn't want that anymore. I didn't mean to say go away. I meant wait. I meant see me before you reach for me. But I never found the right words, and now there's a canyon where closeness used to be. Today I watched him fold his t-shirts at the foot of the bed, slowly, like the fabric might shatter if he moved too fast. His jaw was tight. There was a crease in his brow I hadn't seen before, a quiet grief blooming behind his eyes. He looked older. Not by years, but by weight. And I felt it in my chest, that dull, aching guilt. The kind that sticks to your ribs. Because he's not the villain. He never was. He didn't mean to overwhelm me. He didn't mean to miss the cues I didn't know how to give. He was just trying to reach me the only way he knew how. And I kept shrinking from his hands like they were asking too much. And now he doesn't try at all. That hurts more than anything. I sat on the edge of the bed after he left for work, holding one of his t-shirts in my lap like it might still carry a trace of him. And I asked myself the question I'd been avoiding for weeks. Do I want to fix this? Not just out of obligation. Not just because we've built a life, or because it's easier than starting over. But because I still love him. Because under all the resentment, under all the tension, there's still a softness I haven't let myself feel in too long. The truth is, I do. I just don't know how. But maybe it's enough, for now, that I want to try. So tonight, I'll stay up. I'll wait for him to come back from his run. And I won't fake sleep. I won't roll away. I'll look him in the eyes and say something, anything, that sounds like I'm still here. And hope he still is, too. He came home later than usual. Sweat still clung to his collarbone. His face was flushed from the cold air, cheeks pink, breath shallow. He paused when he saw me sitting on the edge of the couch, not pretending to be asleep this time. We locked eyes. Just for a second. Hey, I said. Hey. His voice was low, cautious. He moved past me toward the kitchen. Grabbed a glass from the cabinet, filled it slowly with water. I waited. The sound of the faucet, the clink of ice, the quiet hum of everything we hadn't said. I've been thinking, I finally said, words thin and fragile. He leaned against the counter but didn't look at me. I miss us, I said. And I'm sorry. For how I reacted. I didn't mean to make you feel like you weren't wanted. He looked up, jaw set. But I wasn't. I was overwhelmed, I whispered. I needed space, but I didn't know how to ask without pushing you away. He nodded slowly. The silence stretched between us like a sheet we were both holding by one corner, afraid to lift. I tried so hard, he said, quietly. I really did. I know. And I still love you. I just don't know if I'm the version of me you want anymore. That hurt more than anything else he could have said. Not angry. Not accusing. Just tired. My throat burned. I stood, walked over, and stopped just inches from him. Not touching. Not yet. Maybe we broke something, I said. Or maybe we just lost our way for a while. But I'd try again, if you want to. He looked at me, eyes heavy with something like sadness, or resignation. Then, gently, he reached out and pulled me into a hug. Not passionate. Not desperate. Just long. Silent. Still. His arms were strong around me, but there was no hunger in it. Just a goodbye we weren't brave enough to speak yet. He kissed my forehead. Rested there for a breath. Then stepped back. I think I need some time, he said. Just to think. I nodded. Not because I was okay, but because I didn't want to make him feel worse. He grabbed a blanket from the chair, walked into the living room, and curled up on the couch, like it was the most natural thing in the world. And for us, maybe it had become that. I stood there for a moment, heart full of everything unsaid. Then I turned off the light, and let the dark hold us both in whatever we were becoming. I used to think desire was just about sex. Not the act itself, but the chemistry, the way someone reaches for you, the spark in their eyes, the feeling that you're wanted beyond reason. And I thought, if that ever started to fade, you just tried harder. Or dressed nicer. Or planned getaways. Or said the right things to remind each other what you used to be. But I was wrong. Desire, real desire, lives in the spaces between moments. It's in the quiet questions. The willingness to listen even when nothing's being said. It's not in the grand gestures, or the kisses that come with expectation. It's in the way someone sees you, even when you're not trying to be seen. I lost that with Zane. Or maybe we both did. We started strong. The kind of beginning that makes you feel chosen, like your story's already been written in the stars. And for a while, we got to live in that magic. That unfiltered, unhesitating closeness. We were good. God, we were so good. Until life happened. And routine. And exhaustion. And the slow, quiet erosion of emotional fluency. Until we were speaking two different dialects of love, hoping the other one would translate. And I'll be honest with you, I was just curious at first. Curious why I didn't melt when he touched me anymore. Curious why every kiss started to feel like a test, like something I was failing. Curious why I flinched when he reached for me, even though a part of me still wanted him. But Zane, he took control of the moment in his own way. Not out of cruelty. Out of fear. Out of longing. He kept reaching harder when what I really needed was for him to pause, to ask, to see me. But all he saw was what he was losing. And I saw someone who loved me, but didn't know how to hold me anymore. It broke both of us. Quietly. Over time. We tried, you know? We really did. But trying doesn't always mean saving something. Sometimes it just means learning when to let go gently, with grace instead of blame. Zane moved out 3 weeks ago. It wasn't dramatic. No final fight. Just two people, standing in the middle of a life they built, realizing they'd started whispering across a canyon. He hugged me before he left. Tight. Long. Like he still remembered all the places I used to lean into him. And I let myself cry in front of him for the first time in months. Because this wasn't failure. This was honesty. Finally. Since then, I've been learning how to come back to myself. Reading books I love. Sitting in silence without filling it with guilt. Rebuilding the kind of intimacy I never realized I'd abandoned, the kind with myself. I don't hate him. I could never hate him. But sometimes love doesn't survive misunderstanding. Sometimes love needs more than memory. It needs translation, renewal, softness. And if you can't speak that same language anymore, no matter how much you want to, sometimes the kindest thing you can do is step away, before the trying becomes another form of harm. So here's what I know now. Wanting isn't everything. But neither is giving in just because someone else does. Sometimes the bravest thing a woman can do is say, I want to feel like a whole person again. Not just a body. Not just someone's habit. And I'm doing that now. I'm still healing. Still aching sometimes. But I'm here. And I'm listening to myself, finally. And that feels like a beginning.